Let's talk about CJ and the Houston Texans. I covered this team just a couple of days ago after they suffered a tough loss against the Kansas City Chiefs. So let's talk about them again. Right now, the Houston Texans are not in a good state heading to the NFL playoffs. The positives are this. They're going to make the NFL playoffs. They have won their division. They're going to host a home playoff game. That can go a long ways in the NFL playoffs. And as long as you clinch a ticket to the postseason, anything can happen. The defense with the Houston Texans, I love what they have. I know they had a tough day today against Derrick Henry and the Baltimore Ravens, but let's just be honest here. Derrick Henry has always given the Houston Texans a lot of problems, even when he was a running back with the Tennessee Titans. Granted, this is a different Texans team, different head coach, but Derrick Henry has always went out there and had good games against the Houston Texans. And I think that their defense will be okay in the postseason. For one, they played 3 games in 11 days. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous for the Texans, Ravens, Steelers, whomever. That's a lot of football to play in a short amount of time. They're going to get a bit of a rest, and hopefully they can be better on the defensive end moving forward. It's the offense I want to talk about right now before I get back to the defense. This offense is bad. This offense has been very underwhelming throughout this entire season. This is an offense that went out there and brought in Stephon Diggs, brought in Joe Mixon to help out the pass game and help out the run game. And the Baltimore Ravens, they have the Houston Texans number. They go out there, they play cover 1 defense, they'll play cover 2 here and there. They play press man coverage. And CJ has struggled with that against this unit because the offensive line is bad and the wide receivers can't get open. But you were hoping, hey, we bring in Stephon Diggs, that can help out a lot. This is a man that can win his one-on-one battles against cornerbacks, and he's amazing in the red zone. And Stephon Diggs was very good in the red zone. As soon as he got injured, this red zone offense took another hit. He went down with an ACL injury over 2 months ago. Tank Dell suffered a brutal knee injury just a couple of days ago against the Chiefs. And there's a lot of speculation that he may miss the entirety of next season because of this knee injury. He pretty much tore every ligament in his knee, and he had a dislocated kneecap. I hope that Tank Dell can come back and be better than ever. But your number 1 wide receiver is still Nico Collins. He was amazing last season. He was amazing at the beginning point of this season before he hurt his hamstring. But Nico got a lot of single looks because Stephon Diggs is so dominant on his side. When you don't have those weapons and Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs is going to hurt you. Hell, they even struggled with Tank Dell on the field in terms of going out there and creating separation. But Tank Dell is so fast, he can go out there and give you separation underneath. It's going over the top that has been hurting the Houston Texans over the last month or so. When I look at the Texans right now, your offensive line is terrible. Besides Laramie Tunsil, they don't have a good offensive lineman on this roster. Blake Fisher is a rookie at the tackle position. He doesn't look good. The effort is not there. Titus Howard is now a guard with the Houston Texans. In the past, he was an offensive tackle. So they're moving pieces around. They're trying to put pieces in the right situation. It's not going to work. And we all know how this story is going to end with the Houston Texans. Bad offensive line play. Wide receivers can't separate besides Nico Collins. You may be one and done in the NFL playoffs. Now, last year, they defeated the Cleveland Browns in the playoffs, and it was a great season. CJ was a rookie. You had DeMeco Ryans, rookie head coach. Bobby Slowick, first ever time that he came to the NFL and he was calling plays for an NFL team. That was great to see, and he does have an NFL experience in his career. I'm talking about being a true offensive coordinator. Last season, he did a lot of good things that I liked. This season, it's been terrible. It's been numerous games where he's been out-coached over and over again against the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff had 5 interceptions in that matchup. CJ did not play well. He had 2 interceptions, 1 passing touchdown, 232 passing yards. But the scheme was non-existent. You lost to the Detroit Lions by a field goal. And their quarterback had 5 interceptions in that matchup. The defense did their job. And I do understand the kicker missed the field goal in that matchup. But still, you had 5 opportunities to go down there and score a touchdown. And you did nothing with those opportunities. The players have to step up, yes, but you know that your offensive line is not good. Have CJ go out there, have some predetermined reads, get the football out quick. That is what they did last season. This season, not so much. And I do believe that the NFL has caught up to CJ. They picked up on his tendencies, and the same with Bobby Slowick. 2 things can be true. Bobby Slowick is a bad offensive coordinator, and CJ has regressed this season. CJ, when you look at him last year, rookie year, 23 passing touchdowns, 5 interceptions. This season, 19 passing touchdowns to 12 interceptions. That is not good. That is regressing. He's not a terrible player by any means. I'm not calling him a bust. I still believe that he's a franchise quarterback and he's going to be amazing moving forward. But you have to find a brand new offensive coordinator after this season and put some offensive linemen around this kid. They did not go out there and address the offensive line in free agency. Instead, you brought in Joe Mixon, good move. You brought in Stephon Diggs, another good move. But in order for this to work, you have to build this offensive line. The Houston Texans saw what happened up close and personal to Andrew Luck many years ago. His career ended prematurely because the offensive lines were terrible. Now, CJ has not suffered a major injury, and let's knock on wood. I don't want to see anyone suffer a major injury in the NFL and any sport. But if you continue to have him go out there and he's taking the hits that he was taking, he got dinged up today in the Ravens game. Eventually, you're asking for trouble. I've seen it with quarterbacks in the past, Cam Newton, Andrew Luck. When you don't have those offensive linemen in place, you're wishing for something bad to happen to your quarterback. You have to bring in the right offensive talent up front and bring in the right coaching. And I look at other games also against the Buffalo Bills. That was a very good game for the Houston Texans. They won that matchup. But the defense went out there and they did their job. CJ, 331 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 interception. They won that game, but the offense was still underwhelming in the back half of that matchup. Against the Green Bay Packers, CJ only had 86 passing yards, and no, he did not get injured in that matchup. You have a brand new defensive coordinator in the NFL go out there and outcoach Bobby Slowick because he's not able to go out there and find ways to scheme guys open. He is not a good offensive coordinator this season. And I was wrong about him. This was a man that was taking head coaching interviews last year. This offense right now is terrible. All they have to do is just go out there and score over 20 points a game. Their defense is that dominant on the back end. I do believe that part of today's performance was because they were tired. It was a short week. And yes, the Ravens did a better job of preparing. You can say the Miko Ryans let them down. It is hard to play 3 games in 11 days. But the defense throughout this entire season on a consistent basis, they have stepped up. This offense, not so much. This offense has been very conservative, even when they had Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, and Nico Collins. Tank Dell was a no-show on the field when they had Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins because they iced him out of the game plan. That's on Bobby Slowick. That's on DeMeco Ryans. And DeMeco Ryans has come out in the past when Tank Dell was fully healthy and he was saying, hey, let's get him involved more. I'm going to talk to Bobby about it. I want to see him more into the game. And when they factored Tank Dell into the matchup, he only ran a shallow cross and a post route. That was it. Those are only 2 routes that he ran. As soon as Stephon Diggs goes down, they acclimate him back into the system. The point of making the trade to bring in Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins was to have 2 number 1 wide receivers in theory and to have Tank Dell go against single coverage, and you can beat a lot of players underneath with shallow crosses and crossing routes. But have him do more than that. Have him do more comeback routes. Have him run up the seam. Bobby Slowick did not do that until Stephon Diggs went down. And I looked at that New York Jets game. Horrible officiating. But at the same time, the offensive line got exposed. The kicker missed field goals, and Bobby Slowick was outcoached yet again by a terrible New York Jets team. When I look at this situation the Houston Texans are in, when you look at the NFL playoffs right now, you have the Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, the Steelers, the Houston Texans, Baltimore Ravens. Right now, you have the Denver Broncos and the Chargers. They're right there hovering those last 2 spots. When I look at the Texans, I don't think that they can go out there and beat any of those teams because they can get after their quarterback and they can play very good defense on the back end. Their defense is going to have to carry them. And the way that CJ is playing right now, he's seeing ghosts inside the pocket. He doesn't trust the offensive line protection. This is a man that is known to be a pocket passer, even dating back to his time in college. He's now taking off. As soon as he senses pressure or he feels pressure, he takes off. He's trying to throw the football deep down the field. He's not seeing the field enough because of bad offensive line play. And it has led to these interceptions. And when someone is open down the field, he doesn't have enough time or he can't set his feet. This is a terrible situation for the Houston Texans because this is the back end of the season. They only have 1 more game left in the regular season. They should be lucky right now that they won their division, and their division is as bad as it is. And they were in close games this year with the Indianapolis Colts, and they were in the close game with the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Houston Texans have to be better on the offensive end, but I don't know what they can do right now. Free agency hasn't started. You're not going to go out there and bring in a good tackle or a good guard right now. All the free agents are taken up. You need to go out there and get you another wide receiver. Yes, they brought in Deontay Johnson. That could be a very good move. But Deontay Johnson struggled to catch on with the Baltimore Ravens. Part of it is because he's a number one. He has attitude problems. Maybe that's the guy that can give them a lot of juice in the receiving game. They better hope so. And I do believe that Deontay Johnson is a very good fit, but he will have some drops here and there. Him playing alongside a guy like Nico Collins, that's the perfect player to have alongside him because Deontay Johnson can kill you underneath. He is known for his moves after the catch, but you have to be creative with the ways that you use him. He had a very solid stint with the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers did not trade him because he's a terrible wide receiver. The Panthers traded him because they were bad at the time. They just wanted to move off of him to get in some extra draft capital. That's why they did that. The Steelers moved off of him. They felt like their wide receiving core was better off without him because of the attitude concerns. The talent is there with Deontay Johnson. That may be the guy that could come in and help you out in the receiving game. And I believe that he will give you good production into the postseason. But he's not going to come in and help you block. You're solving one of those problems. But you need to solve this offensive line problem. And CJ has to be more patient with delivering the football into certain situations. And now he's trying to force the football to Dalton Schultz when he doesn't need to force the football to him. And by the way, Dalton Schultz has put up solid numbers this year. Doesn't mean that he's been a good football player. He's had a lot of crucial drops on third down, like how he had last week against the Kansas City Chiefs, and he can't separate against linebackers anymore. Part of it is bad coaching, but also Dalton Schultz has taken a step back. Still a very solid player, but throughout this season, he's been very inconsistent. When I look at the defense, you have Will Anderson, you have Danielle Hunter, 2 game records. Yes, today's game against the Ravens was a terrible outing, but against the Kansas City Chiefs, the defense, they went out there and they hung in there. They were giving the Kansas City Chiefs a lot of body blows. The offense just couldn't keep up. This defense is very good. What is going to hurt this defense, they're on the field a lot. The Houston Texans deal with a lot of 3 and outs. They deal with a lot of situations to where it's short field situations to where they go out there. If CJ throws an interception or a guy fumbles a football, the defense has to go out there repeatedly. I don't care how good your defense is. Now, if this was the 80s or the 90s, the way that the rules were different back then, your defense can go out there and it can legit carry you. In today's game, you can't do that. Eventually, your defense is going to show cracks and you're going to be hurt. And that's what happened in today's matchup. And we've seen this in the past with the Houston Texans. Darius Stingley Jr., phenomenal cornerback. Kamari Lassiter, very good pickup. Those are going to be your 2-star cornerbacks for the next 5 to 10 years, hopefully, if they can stay healthy. Jalen Petrie, before he got injured, was having a very good season this season. He took a step back last year, but he had to get acclimated in the system with DeMeco Ryans. You have Kalen Bullock, who has a lot of effort. I would give this kid credit. The Houston Texans defense today did not look good, but he was flying around the field. He stopped Mark Andrews on a huge touchdown catch and grab. But that could have went for a touchdown, He caught him out of nowhere from running to the opposite side of the field. His effort is never in question. Even against the Dallas Cowboys, he was flying around. He's a very good player to have in that secondary. It's not all doom and gloom with the Houston Texans, but this was a team that many people thought could be a Super Bowl contender this year. And I'm not going to lie, I was believing that myself because you go out there, you bring in Danielle Hunter, you have Will Anderson, you have this franchise quarterback in CJ who had a great rookie season. You bring in Stephon Diggs, mix that in with Nico Collins and Tank Dell, they should be off to the races. Unfortunately, it did not work out. But the defense, they'll be okay. DeMeco Ryans still deserves to be the head coach with this team. He has a close relationship with Bobby Slowick. They both work with the San Francisco 49ers. They're close friends off the field. He needs to have that discussion this offseason. Depending on what happens in the NFL playoffs, it may be time to move off your best friend. Personally, if it's me, I'm moving off of Bobby Slowick. Business comes first in the NFL because if you don't move off of Bobby Slowick, the Houston Texans may go out there and they may fire DeMeco Ryans and Bobby Slowick. But I don't think it's going to come down to that point. When I look at DeMeco Ryans, he has voiced his frustration in the past with this offense, and Bobby Slowick has come out and said the same thing, but right now it's not resonating. Yes, they're injured, but Bobby Slowick has been terrible this season. I just want you guys to understand that and where I'm coming from. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys still believe that Bobby Slowick is a very good coach. Let me know in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, we want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless. Merry Christmas. Peace.